Welcome everyone to today's webcast, Simplify Your Business for Growth with Mobile Applications from Sedal Solutions. I have a few housekeeping items I'd like to announce before we begin. This webcast is designed to be interactive, so the webcast console that you are currently looking at can be completely customized. You can resize or move any of the windows that you have open. Also, at the bottom of your audience console are multiple application widgets. If you have any questions during the webcast, you can click on the Q&A widget at the bottom and submit your questions. We will try to answer the questions during the webcast, but if a fuller answer is needed or if we run out of time, we'll make sure your answer is sent to you via email. A copy of today's slide deck will also be included in the resource widget, which looks like a green folder at the bottom of your screen. And also an on-demand version of the webcast will be available approximately 1 day after the webcast. Lastly, if you're experiencing any technical questions or difficulties, please visit the webcast help guide, which looks like a question mark widget on the bottom of your console. You can also submit any technical questions through the Q&A widget. So at this time, I'd like to hand it over to our first speaker, Torsten Leidach, to begin today's presentation. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Alison. And hello and welcome to the webinar. My name is Torsten Leidach. I'm a Vice President at SAP in charge for ISVs and digital commerce. Basically, what we do with in this area is we run a program which we call SAP Partnership Application Development, which invites partners to build innovative solutions for our customers leveraging SAP technologies. And accordingly, we are very thrilled and pleased to feature one of our most distinct and great partners in this program, Sedal Solutions, in this webinar today. And it's my honor, obviously, to introduce you to the president and founder of Sedal Solutions, which is Sana Salam, which is who's a very successful entrepreneur, but also a very inspiring and passionate leader and role model for women in technologies. And so our solution and Sana were awarded just recently at the SAP and Microsoft App Challenge for Windows 8 and Windows Phone mobile applications as a finalist. So we're really happy and delighted to have Sana on the call today, and she will obviously take the key part of the presentation, sharing with you how you as a business can simplify your business for growth. To put some context around SAP's overall strategy and how we deal with partners like Sedal Solutions, I want to just spend a few minutes for introductory purposes. So if you're an SAP customer, if you've dealt with SAP, you might have seen this slide before. So one of our key goals is to simplify the IT architecture for our customers and deliver a one-of-a-kind user experience for any user leveraging and accessing our technology and solutions. Now, the core of our portfolio is the SAP HANA Platform. And SAP HANA is a revolutionary memory platform that helps you to process massive amounts of data and deliver information at unprecedented speeds, up to 10,000 times faster than before. It helps you to dramatically simplify and streamline complex and expensive IT architectures. And as an open, adaptable, and extensible platform, SAP HANA enables you to create previously unimaginable applications and to rethink and vision new ways how you run your business. And I'm sure Sana will briefly touch base on this as well during her presentation. Now, SAP HANA Platform is the core of and the backbone of our application infrastructure. So all our solutions, all our analytics solutions are powered by SAP HANA Platform. Now, on top of those applications and analytics, we have a simplified user experience with a mobile-first approach, and all these elements and the entire portfolio is made available on-premise and in the cloud. So with the cloud, obviously, we simplify further the access and the consumption of our solutions for you. And now all this would be not possible if we would have an important and thriving ecosystem of partners who leverage those technologies to build further applications for specific customer needs or in certain niches or industry segments to drive innovation and to expose additional value to you as a customer. Now, in Sodal Solutions is obviously one of the partners which we have in the program and which has done this journey very successfully. And as I said, we're very happy that we can feature Sodal Solution in this webinar today. Now, to drive this platform ecosystem activities and to reach out to a large amount of partners and to actually build an industry-leading ecosystem and attract the best-in-class software companies out there, we have set up Partner to Application Development. Since the launch 1 year ago, we have more than 900 partners in this program who work with the respective technologies like Mobile HANA Cloud to develop packaged applications which are available for our customers to consume. More than 250 of them are already available on the SAP Store. The SAP Store is a great way for you to discover, trial, and buy those solutions, and obviously also to get discovery in terms of what is available in which industry segments and which LLB segments. And it is a comprehensive overview which is provided there because you also can access SAP and all partner solutions in respective departments according to your needs. Now we have customer success stories in all the various regions, and Sodal Solutions obviously is one of the partners who has contributed to that. Now, from a value perspective, what do we want to achieve with Partner to Application Development? Why do we build this ecosystem? It's obviously all very customer-driven and centric, so we want to help you to get accelerated innovation and choice. So you're not only dependent on SAP solutions, you can leverage invariant and multiple SAP partner solutions, as I said above, to drive your innovation agenda within the enterprise. Now, with the package solution approach, which we promote and the SAP Store, you get quick value realization, and obviously you can leverage bundled offerings from partners and SAP via flexible license models. You can also deploy them in the cloud or on-premise, and we help with the certification and quality review to guarantee a certain quality level, as well as that the solutions which are built by our partners are compatible with the SAP platforms which were leveraged and used. Now, with all these elements, what we try and what we want to achieve is that we build a continual industry-leading portfolio which provides innovation, choice, and fast time to value for our partners, for our customers. This is the centerpiece of the agenda, and that's what we want to achieve. Now, accordingly, I'm very happy now to hand this over to Sana from Sodal Solutions, who will share with you how you can simplify your business for further growth. Sana, please go ahead.
Very good. Thank you, Thorsten. Hello, good morning. My name is Sana Salam. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar. And you'll find the webinar today very educational, very informational. And you can send us questions. I'm going to leave my email address at the end of the webinar. I'm a very friendly person. You can send me any questions you have, or if you just want to say hello, you can do that at the end as well. And I look forward to having a fun webinar today. So before we go into the agenda, I want to just tell you a little bit more about myself. I come from a project turnaround background, specifically to SAP, and I worked with large and small-scale projects, failing projects, to turn around them and make them successful. And I learned that it wasn't the technology; it was always the way it was designed, or the complexity, and or the methodologies. And this is why I am in love with mobile and big data and anything that's innovative that can simplify the lives of users. And that is what motivated us to start Sodal Solutions. And Sodal is a Latin word. It means cutting edge. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background of what we do and who we are. We are a 1-year-old company, so we are a baby company, but we have an all-star team and a global team. We are an SAP certified award-winning partner. We just won an award last year at Sapphire this year. And also we are different because we bring a very rapid, very simple, and cost-effective approach for customers to join their innovation journey, and also anything in mobility and simplification. Our core is business process simplification. When you look at mobile or any technology, we think about how it will help to solve a pain point for business and how it will simplify their lives. And that's our core. The other thing that we are good at is focusing on, in terms of technologies, mobility, but then also integration with big data technologies such as HANA and also cloud. The third one is, which I'm particularly crazy about, is design thinking, which is something that we are all certified, all of our consultants are certified in design thinking, and we really believe in this methodology and framework, and I want to touch upon that in today's webinar to educate you a little bit more about that. And then finally, all of our apps are designed with the mindset of not just mobile, but also desktop and laptops, because there is a user group who is using that. And the message is that don't think of mobility in terms of just using it on a mobile device. It has to be flexible enough. And this is why we love working with SAP's mobile platform, because it gives you that flexibility. And finally, just so you know, our team has got extensive experience. Some of them have worked at SAP Labs and have built some of the innovations, so they bring that intellect, that knowledge with them, so we're not learning from ground up. And secondly, in terms of consulting and services, we work with really large companies globally. So that's kind of our portfolio, and a little bit about our accomplishments. In 1 year is that we were the first partner to launch a benchmark application that is inspired by Fiori. Fiori is a word that most of us are very familiar with. We were also awarded a Microsoft App Challenge Award at Sapphire, and then we were also highlighted on a Google Enterprise App campaign, and we are now participating in a Google App Challenge as a result of that. So that's kind of our background, so you know who you're speaking with. We're very thankful for this opportunity and to be speaking with you today. Today's agenda is very simple. I want to talk about what is the driving factor for innovations. Why do we care about them now? And then specifically explain the background, how we got here, and then explain how SAP's technologies fit into that. And the second point that I want to focus on is how you can start adopting it in a more cost-effective and quick way now, not 10 years from now, but now. And then thirdly, which is something that I love, is the methodology, the right methodology for innovation, the framework that would make it low risk for you and successful for you. And lastly is I will give you some point of actions where we can help you at Sadao Solutions. We can help you get started with that journey. Something very simple that can help you out to get started now. So, having said that, let's start with the first item. So, first thing is that we all know that the digital era is shifting. And why am I talking about that is we all have been hearing about transformation or network economy, but it sounds a bit complicated when you hear that concept. So I'm going to try to explain that concept in very, very simple language. So think of your past. When if you look at the history of enterprise systems, you were all focused on ERP or enterprise data warehouse or enterprise systems, and that gave you a view of the current view of your internal processes. Also, your device horizons were very limited. We were only cared about desktops and laptops. It was kind of a static world. And because of the data and devices being internal and static, we were able to keep up with the outside change because not everything else was changing at the same time. But now things have changed. Where we are now, we live in an economy or marketplace where everything is changing at the same time. And as a result, everything is connected. If you're a company and if you want to survive, you cannot just survive on your own. You have to be connected with your customers, with your vendors, with your partners, with the outside world all the time and in that moment of need. And why is that? That's because two things are happening. One is your data, the data that you care about, the data that impacts your decisions is no longer contained within your enterprise. Second, your devices are no longer contained or limited just to laptops and desktops. and we're kind of losing control over that. So this is not something that we can fight. This is something that we have to embrace, and technology helps us embrace that. And this concept is called the network economy concept. It's important to understand it because then it motivates us to start paying attention to innovation. So let's see what what the stats say. What is the numbers out there? I won't have time to go through all of these numbers, but I'm going to give you one or two examples. The first one is if you look at the left side, you'll see all the mobile stats and information that's out there through surveys. On the right side, it talks about opportunities that you can create through big data. So why do we care about that? Well, first of all, if you look at the notion that there are 1 billion people engaged in social networks, well, that information can be very useful to you because if you're a small business and you are trying to launch a product line or a service line, it's very important for you to know what your customers are out there saying for you. If you're a big business, the impact is even higher. So whether you are small or a big business or a large business, in both cases, what your customers and your partners are saying about you can make or break your brand, and that's the power of social media. That information was not so important to us in the past, but it's important to us today because that's where our customers are hanging out. And that is something which is a phenomenon of network economy. The second one is, I like this very much, in a 60% potential increase in retailers. If you think about that, think of a small business, a boutique, who's under very high pressure to become profitable, and the owner is competing on price and or competing with other lots and lots of small businesses. And there is no way for them to just quickly transform of what they are dealing with. They're competing on price all the time. One way they can do that is actually try to understand their customer behavior, what they're liking, what they feel about. And they can do that by leveraging big data. They can untap that potential. They can also have a better view of make informed decisions on supply chain to merchandising and pricing. That is a very useful information for them to become profitable and really change the way they do business. So these are just a couple of examples I wanted to give you about the network economy. So having said that, we need to realize that technology is an opportunity for us to create growth, whether we are a small business or we are a big business. In both cases, it creates growth. If you think about history, when we presented SAP solutions to our users, we always talked about it helps you cut costs, it helps you save time, it makes you productive. But today where we are, it's not just only about saving costs. It's also about that it helps you create new revenue lines and new relations with your customers. And that is where you see the main big difference, where you can get ahead of your competitors and not just competing on cost, but also competing on revenue side. So you actually get a double effect. And how you can do that is there are a couple of examples. And for every business, of course, it would be different. Not all these examples will apply to every business. For some businesses, the data on the web would be very, very important. And what they would need is, to be able to know what sentiments customers have for them and how they can conduct targeted marketing campaigns for them. Also, for executives inside the companies, what would be important is to have all the information at their fingertips, but combined with the external data that's impacting their strategy. And then look at this example for location-based data. So here you can roll out location-based product offerings based on how the businesses are performing. I remember Disney, when it went to Europe, initially it was a complete a flop because the needs in Europe were completely different. Well, if you have leveraged big data and you have leveraged technology, you would be able to know the preferences and the sentiments of your customers prior to even launching your products and services in a region. So these are a couple of examples that by leveraging this data, that we were not tapping into before, we can actually create new growth lines in our business. So that's the kind of a key message to talk about when we say how technology helps you create growth opportunities today, in today's world. So how does SAP fit into this? How does SAP technologies fit into this? Well, first of all, we have to stop thinking about it in terms of a stack of products. We always say mobile or big data or apps. It's not the correct way of looking at it. I believe that now where we are, it's important to start looking at it as a platform, start looking at it as an interlocked solution, because that is how you get the entire benefit, the effect, the benefit for leveraging that technology. And this is where this is a very simple way of representing something that you could do in your organization and start now. And I know that there are tons and tons of line of business solutions and RDS and different types of solutions out there, but those are just examples of how you could deliver them. But if you just remember this big picture, this can help you understand what your business needs in terms of the next steps. And then you can have different choices if you want to do it in on-premise, or you want to integrate it with cloud, or if you want to, just do it as a hybrid and start from what you have right now. So overall, if I look at it, the challenges of network economy that we talked about before, which were more devices beyond our company boundaries and more data beyond our company boundaries, both of them can be solved with two things. One is speed, and the second one is simplicity. And that is what you'll get with this interlock solution concept. And so this is where we are today. And if you look at it, it's a very simplistic way of defining SAP or defining technology. But if we want to survive and if we want to continue on, this is what we have to embrace. There are a couple of myths about the new technologies, and I find them very interesting, and I was trying to look for answers for them for myself, and this is why I want to talk about them in today's webinar. The first one is big data, and people have a concept, and including myself, I had that big data is only used for companies who have big data, and they have big sets of information like utility or mining or financial. But if you look at the truth is that big data isn't just about big sets of information, because we have to rethink the boundaries of our information horizons. They are not internal anymore. They are external. So if you are a small business, think of how you can leverage LinkedIn data to increase your sales. If you are a small boutique, you can think about how you can leverage the web information, the yellow pages, all the information about your customers, the information in other portals to increase your sales. So it is equally applicable to companies who don't have traditionally internally generated big data. The second myth is that I hear about is mobile. Mobile is only about productivity and the fact that I can run my reports on a mobile device. So that is changing now, because mobile is now the new tool which can solve complexities. When you implement a mobile technology in your company, it's a great opportunity for you to create a new user experience and to simplify your business processes, to remove those redundant, daunting screens and make them nice looking, so you are just focusing on the task on hand and getting your work done. It also is, this is the most interesting one to me. I see mobile as like an electricity or a connectivity tool, where you can have things that are beyond your company boundaries, like government agencies working with tax department. So those two have different enterprise systems. Using mobile as a technology, you can connect the two and have seamless information handling. Now, if you think like that, you will start thinking how you can have a better and instant relation and process with your customers and your vendors as well, not just within your employees. And a good example I'm actually going to show you today is labor management app. I'm going to demo that to you today, and that's a good example of this idea. The third one is cloud. And for some reason, some people think that cloud is needed for future. And first of all, cloud has been there for a long time. It's just that adopting cloud is much more cost effective now. So it's a great opportunity for you to start thinking about cloud and looking at it very seriously. So cloud is not a new technology. Cloud is a deployment model, and it helps you stay relevant. What does that mean? Well, it means that before we used to think about really large-scale IT projects, we would spend years in delivering them, and we would ramp up our internal IT team, get approvals. Well, now we don't have time for that because now the outside marketplace and the speed at which the technologies are changing is much faster than our ability to respond. Because we are falling behind, we can respond by leveraging cloud. And we can do that by delivering those instant needs of the business straight from the cloud. And so this is a deployment model which is absolutely important for you to have as an ingredient in your IT toolbox. If you're not ready to do it 100%, you have to start thinking about what are those vanilla and standard needs I can deliver from cloud directly. So this way you are, say if you're a small business, you don't have to wait for ramping up your internal team or IT infrastructure to be delivered, to deliver the innovation. You can deliver that directly from cloud. So the diagram that I showed you about the SAP architecture, the new simplified way of viewing SAP, you can take the same information and deliver that in cloud as well. Final one is, and this is interesting, is that Fiori and UX. We always look at them as a consumer-like experience, and when we talk to our management, we feel that it's just a lightweight mobile usage, and it's something nice to have. But that's not correct. I think it is something that's not nice to have. It's actually a must-have, and the reason is, if you don't do it, you have to think about the cost of not doing it. If you don't do it, you are going to be incurring huge cost on your change management. You'll be spending time, hours, days, money in writing those training binders. And also you'll have a huge cost to pay, which is your user adoption. That's what you're compromising, user adoption. You don't implement the right UX technology. So given again, going back to the interlock solution concept, you have those simplified views now available in these interlock solutions, and that gets you the user adoption right straight from the get-go. So on day one, when you're live, your users can begin to use this system without having to learn it. So these are, kind of some positioning statements I wanted to make sure you've gone through about innovation. Okay. So, Alison, I think we need to push the poll question.
I'll give everybody about 10-15 seconds if you can go ahead and answer the poll question on your screen, and then I will push the results. So in about 10-15 seconds. You can go ahead and go on to the agenda slide.
Very good. Okay, so I see the answer, and I see that what was chosen was really cost and also the deployment. So that is exactly what we're going to address today in today's webinar. And it doesn't surprise me that that's the answer of the poll, because that's what our customers are saying to us as well. So what I want to talk to you about today is how we can design a rapid and quick way of building mobile apps today, as of now. And why I'm saying that is because when we started with us, we actually worked with a lot of customers and through interviews. And after a large set of interviews, we learned that this is what they wanted. They wanted something that they could show to their executives to get a buy-in for their further investments, a larger investment. And secondly, they wanted something quick to show the ROI of the new innovation so that the users can believe in it and not just see it as a nice to have. So what we did was, first thing we have made is a Fiori-like app, or an app that is inspired by Fiori, and it actually leverages what you have in-house already, and it gives you an excellent starting point of delivering simplified mobile experience, mobile as well as desktop experience. And then second step is that you can then integrate, if you're already using Mobile Platform and HANA, you can integrate that with that as well. So different types of apps will need different types of, especially if they're analytical apps, you're going to need HANA as well. So in this case, I think what we are trying to say is that you have a solution out there that works with your current IT and SAP investments that can help you get there. But what else you're going to need with that is some ready-to-go apps. So what we've done at Sodal is we've made almost 30 applications that categorize in different areas. And they're all inspired by Fiori. They're all work on any backend, any database, and run on any device. And when I say I run on any device, they actually can be converted into a native mobile applications as well. And the way they work is that because we know that our SAP customers use non-SAP backends as well, like Excel spreadsheets and other non-SAP backends, these applications would work with that as well. So one of them is certified and is on SAP Store, and the other one will be coming in SAP Store this month. But the other ones, we also have some in-house applications. And I'll be happy to demo those to you if you need to see them. So we have different types of apps. One is transactional applications, then we have analytical applications, very nice looking dashboard type of applications. The third one is they looked at the most complicated scenarios of SAP, such as project systems, service management, GRC, month-end close, and also aspects which were complicated, like labor management. So what we've done is we've created cockpit type of apps that take that entire mega process that goes across multiple modules, and we have simplified them in task-based experience using our knowledge and by working with our customers. And that is what you're going to get as part of these apps. So this is kind of a little bit of background. I am going to show you a quick demo. We won't have a lot of time, so I'm going to show you a very quick demo of some of these applications. Give me a minute. I'm just launching my screen. Okay, so let me know if you see it. Is it buffering? I'm going to give it 10 more seconds, and then I can probably give you a quick overview first. Okay, so while it loads, I'm just going to give you a quick background. So this application is a labor management app, and think of any enterprise who has seasonal staffing, and they're working crazy hours during peak seasons with staffing agencies, with the regulatory bodies, with internal staff, with line of business managers, and these are all temps, and they have to make sure that they're onboarded very, very quickly, assigned to jobs very quickly, and then are already working and are productive. And this today is done by hiring a temporary HR person or by doing a lot of email and manual communication, and also it's impacting the revenue lines of these line of business managers because they're not able to manage the KPIs or what's happening on the temporary labor side. Especially in retail, logistics, and pharmaceutical industries, this is a very common scenario. So what we've tried to do here is we have, and I see that you cannot see this my screen for some reason. So I'm going to give you a quick view. What we've tried to do is created an app launchpad which captures all of those aspects and combines them and simplifies them. That's the first concept app. The second one is on month-end close. Month-end close is a problem in every single company, and even if you are 100% optimized, you actually want to optimize it more. And so this application is the application that also won an award, and this application allows you to create a checklist, status, and execution of your key month-end activities, the dashboard, the reports, the bad jobs, approvals, anything to do with monitoring and reporting. For data entry aspects, we don't think that it's something that we actually want to leave it within the ERP intentionally because that's what the users wanted. So this app comprises all of those aspects in one launchpad. The other one is, and I would have loved if you could see it, is Influencer app.
We can see your screen, Sana, just to give you a heads up.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Thank you, very good. So this third app is called Influencer app, and it's something lovely looking because if you remember your ERP reports or BW reports, they're kind of boring because they're very static and they're very numerical. Whereas if you had just something interactive at your fingertips, it would just make your life much more easier. And so this look and feel helps you get that. In this particular example, we've uploaded financial statement items and tried to show what are the key drivers, how they impact each other, try to look at what are the changing factors that impact one line item with the other, and how we can make quick decisions based on, as you can see, if I'm changing one of the aspects, it's changing the output of the particular line item. So it shows that what would be the impact on my fixed assets if I have a change in my property, plant, and equipment. So instead of this is a very good way of doing your what if scenario. So this app is also inspired by Fiori, which means it uses SAP NetWeaver Gateway, it uses any backend, whether BW, BPC, ERP, or a non-SAP backend, and then it works along with that with a Fiori-like interface. So very task-oriented and very quick and cost-effective to deploy. So why I keep bringing back the rapid and agile and cost-effective approach is because this is something that you can do now. You don't have to wait for entire infrastructure or a lot of budget approval to implement apps like this. So these were, some of our concept apps. I won't have time to cover every single thing, but this should give you a good idea. I am stopping my screen share now and move to the next agenda item. The next thing that I want to cover is the framework. This is very, very important because most of us, before building mobile applications or even if we are a customer, we come from ERP background. So we still have that mindset of how ERP works or how ERP projects are done. And we've always looked at them as a very complicated and long, complex projects. So mobile projects are actually very, very different. Same with anything to do that you're delivering within cloud. And here's the reason why. If you look at a mobile project, it's supposed to be very, very intuitive and very interactive, and it is something that a user has to be 100% involved in. So when you look at your ERP project, you probably are doing a large blueprint document with 50 pages that people are going through and reading and approving. When you're implementing a mobile project, the first thing that you have to do is really work with the end users to figure out what their vision is. Find the pain. Find what's that pain point that we can solve to get this innovation into your company and get the executive buy-in to go to the next level. Do a couple of trial projects. Those are a couple of tips that can get you started now. And the way you lower your risk is, because we're doing something new, we want to make sure we lower our risk. So the way you do that is by building a proof of concept first, getting that approved and reviewed by your users, get their feedback, and then roll it out. And the one way you could do that is you have all these apps in the SAP store. You have prepackaged apps. You can start with that, and you can see where they fit, and then you can personalize them to your needs. It only takes 4 to 6 weeks on an average for a simple app to get completed to the finish line. And it's that simple. It is not like a large ERP project where you're spending 3 years in planning and 3 years in deployment and 2 years in user adoption. A mobile project doesn't need that kind of training or change management because it's supposed to have the user experience that you've already solved the user adoption. So it's actually much quicker and simpler than that our mindset perceives. So this is something that I wanted to really spell out here, that this is a typical mobile project plan and using agile methods, of course, so that you are doing iterative testing, you're using user feedback, you're brainstorming with them, and you're improving. And that's going to make it very, very successful because the users are actually going to use it. The other thing is when I say find the right pain, why it's important is that you don't want to end up with a bunch of applications in your environment. You have to solve a very specific context-specific issue that will really make the lives of your users easier. And the way you do that is actually you find the right problem. So many customers who come to us have figured out a problem that they think they have, but when we really look into it, it's a symptom of the problem, and the underlying issue is different. So design thinking can help you solve that. Design thinking is about innovating under constraints. It's not something that would actually make your scope bigger and cost bigger. It's actually something that will narrow it down because you will end up with a better scope. It involves your users from the get-go, and it starts with a very diversion approach and goes into a very conversion approach. And that is something that can make a win-win situation for your innovation. So instead of thinking of your traditional ERP framework and methodologies when you're deploying these mobile apps, think of innovative methodologies that can make it very quick and fast. And finally, my most favorite statement is, think of when you're doing anything new, think of failing often, failing early, and failing cheaply. And this is why I always say to leverage, to take advantage of cloud, to take advantage of the prepackaged apps, because they get you that early quick wins within your business, and you're able to experiment a little bit more. You go through your learning, and also you have user feedback validated. Instead of doing something very expensive and learning about it later. So this is the design thinking framework. This is something that at Sodalys we do very well, and the clients love it. And again, every single time we do it, we find out that the problem was not the problem that they were trying to solve, and that's the key message I want to give. Finally, I'm going to just show you a couple of pictures of how design thinking is very hands-on. Not PowerPoint-driven laptop, those fancy meetings where people are sitting across a table. It's not driven like that. It's a very open, unpolitical type of environment where everybody's sharing their ideas, your front line, your back line, your stakeholders, and then you're creating prototypes right on the get-go. So that's the essence of design thinking. And when nothing can make an IT leader or business leader more happier when you design something for the end users and actually love using it. And the only way you can do that is actually you bring all those people in that room and you design it with them. They are part of the solution building. and it's something that is very, very fruitful for everybody. So that's kind of our approach. I'll be actually writing a blog on design thinking, and on our website as well, you can find a lot of information about it. I'm trying to create awareness about this a little bit more. So that's on the framework on what are the right methodologies to implement innovations. That's what we are proposing as a best practice. So next step is, what do I need to do now to get started? What can I do to go to my next step? Well, you can do two things. As I said, you can start with a catalog app. So what we're doing at Sedalis, we are offering a free Envision workshop. And when I say Envision workshop, it's that we have all these apps lined up. And SAP also has apps, and also there are partners who have apps, and we also have a big partner network. So these prepackaged apps can be really, really good starting point. Chances are, if you've thought of a problem, chances are somebody else has already thought of that problem, and they've already solved it. So why not leverage that? So you can do that by using this prepackaged apps, and what we can do at Sedalis for you is find a landscape fit, help you deploy that as a one-time cost, and the customization in our experience has taken 3 to 6 weeks for that specific context type of app. And you can also start, in this case, if you have a new problem, if you have a problem that you think is very, very unique, and in terms of your own use case doesn't apply to the applications that we are showing to you, then we can also build an app from ground up. So just to give you a little bit more background, the apps that we are proposing for our free Envision workshop are the following. We have transactional apps for manufacturing, the entire manufacturing processes, approvals, and shopping cart. And on the analytical side, we have dashboard, what-if analysis, root cause analysis, GRC dashboard. On the process side, we have simplified the entire module of service management, project systems, and audit management. It actually captures processes from different areas. And finally, we have cockpit apps, which are very unique. And month-end close is one of them, labor cockpit is the other one, and then we have warehouse management. And why we call them cockpit apps is because they're also leveraging non-SAP backends and as well as other platforms like Google Apps into this to make it more intuitive. And all of these apps are convertible to a native app. We have done our own enhancements to allow you to do that, and they all come with offline capabilities. And because they're all built with Fiori design principles, you can start deploying them now by leveraging what you have in your current ERP. So that's the key message, that all of them are using Gateway and UI5 interfaces. If you want to build something from ground up, and sorry, this is our store slide, and you can find us in SAP Store. This is our first app, and then one more is coming up. You can ask for a trial version, and we can provide you access to that as well. Finally, if you are building a new app, and say we do an Envision workshop and we find that none of the pre-built apps can solve your problem, no problem. We can actually use a very risk-minimizing approach to build new apps just by doing design thinking and prototyping. And in this case, we are going to leverage our pre-built app accelerators. We have built a ton of app accelerators that can help us do app building very, very quickly and convert them into native apps as well. And the cool thing is that you get to be part of a design thinking session and prototyping a new methodology, new way of doing things. And the most interesting thing I want to say is that whichever clients you've done design thinking with, they actually said that they're now doing it in their regular processes as well, within their departments, not just for IT, but also any other process improvement projects as well. So this is something that they're loving, actually. So this is, kind of the background on how we will help you get started now instead of waiting more. And as a final message, I want to say that at Sedalis we are building our portfolio, so we are very, very flexible with our pricing and discounts that we are providing to our customers as well. So we've also given some timelines, and this is making things easier for the customers. And this slide gives you an outlook of the timeline chart of what we are proposing for some of our apps and their deployment time. And of course, if your landscape is very complicated, it will be a bit different, but the development effort is listed here. And finally, here's my contact information. Please go to my website, and Allison's just posted the resources under. Allison, do you want to go over that? Sorry, I think I won't do a good job at that.
Sure. So there's a resource widget on the bottom of your screen that's in a green icon with a folder on it. You can leverage all the resources located there, such as Sana's website as well as her blog.
Very good. And my blogs are something that are very near and dear to me. I try to take a very complicated question and try to answer it in an entertaining and fun way with a picture that I actually draw by myself. I have an iPad app, and I draw these pictures. So please go to my blog and try to subscribe to it. You will find it very educational and very fun to read. So that's the key message. I think we can take some questions if you want to do that.
Okay, thank you very much, Sana, for the really very informative and also obviously very educational session. Really very well done. Thank you so much. We have a couple of questions here in the chat. I think most of them are directed to you. So the first question which I have for you is from one of the participants who says, the technology is always evolving. How do we know what mobile technologies are right for us, and how do we know it won't change again?
Well, that's a very good question, and it surprises me because literally all of our customers and even developers ask us that because they're also trying to keep up with their skills. And the answer is that it's something that we have to change in our culture, company cultures, and our mindset. We cannot fight change. The fact that there are new technologies out there and the cycle time is becoming shorter and the abundance of type of technologies is becoming higher, it is the new phenomena. It is how it's going to be, and it's going to actually get more faster and faster. What we cannot just resist it. We cannot fight it. We have to embrace it, and therefore you can leverage cloud to keep up with that change, to become relevant, to actually align with the outside marketplace change. And so the answer is, how do we know that it's right, and how do we know that it's not going to change? It will change, and we are always doing the best that we can in that moment in time, and therefore leveraging cloud and start including in your IT toolbox is extremely, extremely crucial for the relevance of every business, including the IT resources, because you also have to get up to speed on skills, so you have to know where you're allocating your time best. So that's kind of the answer to it.
Okay, thank you. And then we have another question, but maybe just for the audience in general. You can submit your questions via the chat. So here's another one. How does a typical mobile app project really differ from a typical ERP implementation?
I think that the fact that mobile projects are very, very visual, think of it like a website project and how visual it is. It's very similar to that, or how you're constructing your home. You need to have things visual. You want to see them as they're working. You cannot just have things done on a big paper and tons of documents. So it's very visual. It's very prototype-oriented. If you want to make it successful, you have to involve your users early on. Make sure they understand with the emotional aspect of the application and they can connect with it. If you have to train somebody on a mobile app, then I think it's a failed project. So this is a big aspect between ERP and mobile app. A mobile app project should simplify your process, and that should be the aim of implementing the app. It's not that you are going to be mobilized on the road. It's the fact that it's going to simplify it. And so having people to use it without having to learn it, that is other big difference. And then, of course, the methodology of how we deliver it, the POC approach, and then the pilot rollout approach and design thinking, all of those are parts of it.
Okay, excellent. And this obviously leads to the next question, which is also about pretty much the implementation. What are the most critical success factors of a mobile implementation?
Very good question. It differs for every company, and I think this is something that the stakeholders should identify before they start the project. So, whoever you work with, even if you're building an application within your own company, you have your own in-house developers. Make sure that you have aligned a mobile strategy, and mobile strategy is not just about the tools and architecture, but also how are we going to make sure we know that we are successful? Is it that people are actually downloading and using the app, or is it the fact that now our productivity is higher, or is it the fact that that we are now using less paper? So know your key metrics in advance and align your project design according to that. But I think that for me the biggest one is, again, going back to the fact that it shouldn't have a lot of hidden costs. It should be done to solve a real pain point, not just that it's just an application. And third, they should be flexible enough for users to have a seamless experience and same experience on whether they're on desktop or they're on their iPad. So these are kind of the clues that I can give you in this area.
Okay, then we have another question here, which is, do you build custom web service for integrating the user interface on a handheld device to the web portal in a typical scenario?
Well, this is a very technical question for me, and I would have to defer it to my technical team. I apologize. But if you can just send me this question, I will have that answer. I'm sorry, I won't be able to answer that in this session.
Okay, no problem. So I think we have the contact details for the person who asked, and we can obviously then reach out after the session and answer it then more specifically. Then there's maybe time for one more question. Okay, this goes back to the implementation. What is the deployment time for configuring the backend for mobile apps?
I think we have to know that not all mobile apps are applicable for every company. So, for example, if you have an approval app and you have never used workflow and you don't have workflow activated in your backend, of course you cannot use that right away. You have to do some backend configuration. So it would depend on the app functionality, and therefore I emphasize the fact that apps have to be very specific to your pain point or your business scenario. So best practice, in my opinion, is to leverage your current business backend configuration, because if you try to implement mobility and also try to change the backend, all of that at the same time, it can actually become a longer time of implementation, and also you might not be working on the right area. If you have a few tweaks, then that's fine. So maybe setting up workflow could take 2 months. That's fine. So in this case, it would depend on case by case, but the answer is that the deployment time for configuring the backend would really depend on the functionality. So if you're doing a service management app, you have to make sure service management is in place. So usually the driver for mobile implementations is there is already a pain point that exists, and we are trying to solve it.
Okay, excellent. So I think we are on the top of the hour, so we want to be respectful with regards to the time of the audience here. So I think as I don't see any other questions coming in, we are at a time where we can conclude this webinar. Obviously, I want to thank everybody for attending, in particular, obviously, Sana, for the great and excellent presentation. Maybe, Sana, you want to conclude the call with a few words to the audience?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I want to say that I'm very open, and I like to chat with people. I love it. I love people. So if you want to reach out to me, just say hello, and you can find me on LinkedIn. You can also reach out to me on my email. I would love to chat with you and just to get to know you. And please follow my blogs. I write them very religiously. I believe in them. And I hope I provided you with some information that you will find helpful. And again, finally, please, if you need us to schedule an Envision workshop to go over our applications, please reach out to me. You have got my email address.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sana, and to everybody, have a great day, and looking forward to connecting soon. Bye-bye.